righty.
Here we are at the KBay 103.9 podcast studios here in Marble Falls. I'm Mr. Amazing. I know. If you wanted to know, I'm from Florida. Just so you know. We've got a guest we got a guest today, and it's not Kimberly. And you're wondering, where's George? George had a family ordeal that he had to drive to, so he couldn't make it today, but that's okay. He's with us in spirit.
Yes, he is. You're my boy, George.
That doesn't, Boy George? Wasn't that a band? I don't think that's right?
You know, like from that movie. You're my boy, Blue.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Oh, okay.
And this is Audra. She
Hi.
came, where'd you come from today?
Dallas.
Dallas.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is River over here, which you can't see him. He's incognito.
Say hi.
Yeah. He's 6'4", 250 pounds, good-looking kid. Right? Anyway, right? Kim, did you have a good week?
I had a great week. The Lord has really shown up for me. Showed up and showed out for me, and I am just so grateful. And not because he did something for me, just because it kind of shows me that I'm aligned, right, with his will in my life. And that my prayer life, I've been very intentional about being less selfish in my prayers and just praying for, you know, other people's situations, and not just doing the whole, God, please help me do this, please help me do that, but it's more of like, just whatever's going to happen, just let it glorify you in my life. That's all I want. Just make sure my life is glorifying you, and I think that my life is glorifying him right now.
Okay. In a humble way.
So humble.
So humble.
Oh, I just want to cry thinking about it.
Don't start crying. We don't need that.
You know I'm a crybaby.
We don't need a cry. Give me one of those socks.
Why do we have socks?
Well, because I wanted to look cool with no socks on. Because if I had white socks on with these, I wouldn't be looking cool.
Oh, you know what? You're looking pretty cool today.
Yeah, you are.
I'm bringing it back. It's the when was this? It was maybe in the 80s.
I don't know.
The 90s.
Well, you have like the 2000s goth punk rock look, maybe
Boom.
even
Yeah.
the 80s like Velvet Underground type
Yeah.
stuff. Got like the 90s shark tooth going on.
This is a bear tooth.
Oh, did
A
you
bear,
pull?
I did.
Is
I
that
shot
under-
this bear.
Oh my
I had
God, you
some
pulled
teeth
its
made.
tooth?
I didn't.
Did you really?
Yeah. Yeah. I
What
shot
year
this.
was that?
Oh, this is probably about 4 years ago. It's in my house.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
I had 4 of these made. One for my son and one for the guide and his wife. And
Love
a little
it.
cross on it.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's like a bear tooth.
That's a real
That's
bear. You
cool.
I have a mountain lion necklace, but I thought it was going to be too much.
Poor Winnie the Pooh.
No, this is not Winnie the Pooh. No. Anyway, so yeah, I got me some goth stuff because not that I've had this stuff for a long time. I've had this stuff for a long time.
Okay.
But anyway, I'll talk about that in a minute. Audra, so you are here in, she got it, Ben. Okay. She got it. There's Ben, our producer.
Ben Sheets.
Ben Sheets. Like I told you girls before, he is one handsome dude. You listen to KBay 103.9. Every once in a while they have like, what do they call it? Call in and win something, right? You could win and get a free seat at the podcast studios. Right? So where was I? So
Introducing Audra.
yeah, Audra. So Audra is, we met somewhere in San Saba, right? She's like, oh, is she from San Saba? Yeah, she used to
We did.
work on pecan trees because that's the only thing that they got over there.
That's true.
Right. So we met over there in San Saba. You want to share a little bit about how we met?
Do you remember how we met?
I do not know. I
Okay.
don't remember.
Okay, so it was 2021, and I had not been in prison very long, so it was all very new to me. And
Wait a second. You're telling me you were in prison?
Yes,
Because you don't look like you would be in prison.
I know.
Like
I
Kim.
know.
You don't look like
right,
it.
Right. Yes,
You
but
don't even have a tattoo.
I have a few small ones, but you can't even
Oh,
see
see, I
'em.
should have done that. Hid my tattoos.
Yeah. So, okay, so it was 2021, I'd barely been in prison that long, and you were there doing a search for significance. And keep in mind, keep in mind, like, this is all new to me, right? It's like culture shock. It is So I signed up for Search for Significance. I needed to get out of that dorm. I needed Jesus. I needed hope, all those things that you bring. So we're sitting in there in the chapel, you know, with the murals. It's all pretty. And there's a circle of women, and you're sitting like directly across from me. And there's this big girl sitting right here to my right, and she's talking the whole time. Like, it's getting on my nerves. And I am just trying to hear you. I just need to hear what you're saying. Number one, you remind me of home, because you remind me of my dad's. They were hunters, and, you know, but you also, you know, you brought light into the darkest place. Yeah. So I wanted to hear what you were saying, and she would not stop talking. And so I, being so naive, thought, oh, I can just nicely ask her to be quiet. Oh, my goodness. Okay. So I turned to her and I said, can you please keep it down a little, because I can't hear Mr. Amazing talk. And she gets up. I'm sitting. She gets up and she gets in my face, and she is cussing me and screaming and in my face, threatening me. And you just stood up and you said, hey, do you want to come sit by me? And she said, sure. She picks her chair up. She comes and sits by you. And I was like, what is happening right now? Like, you didn't call the COs. You didn't make a big deal out of it. But I never did get a chance to thank you for saving me from getting my face punched in, because she was literally about to punch me in the face.
Do you remember that?
And
honestly, I think that's only happened one time. So you know what? Honestly, I think I do remember that.
Yeah. You were just so calm, and you didn't even make a fuss about it. And she just came over and sat down, and I was like, what just happened? Thank you, Jesus. Thank you.
Yeah,
okay.
Thank you. Way to go.
Yeah.
Wow.
De-escalated that quick.
Well, that's true. I guess so. Well, the truth of the matter is I didn't really want her to get mad at me and come over there and give me a cup check. Right? So yeah, that did.
I was so thankful. And then, okay, so we finished the class at San Saba, and I always loved your stories, your hunting stories. You know, you have amazing hunting stories. If people don't know, you should share them sometime. And then
that's for you, Joey, out there in Idaho. Hunting stories. And Rosa, yeah, I'll give you a shout out.
And then we spent 2 years at Lockhart together after that. So I was gone after San Saba to Lane Murray for a year, and then came to Lockhart, and that's when you introduced the Cape, and the rest is history,
The
as
rest
they
is
say.
history.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Kimberly, you know where Lockhart is. You've been there too. You guys just weren't there at the same time.
I lived there for a very long time. What were you there? I left maybe in 2022.
Okay, so you left right before I got there, because I spent 23, part of 23, all of 24 there, about 2 years.
So we missed each other. I had to leave for 6 months to go to a different unit whenever I made parole to get out. So a lot of the people that are like, oh, yeah, I was on Lockhart.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was gone before you got there.
Wouldn't that be something if you left and you were in like 4 Delta and she was in 4 Delta, and then when you left, she got your spot?
That would be crazy.
That would be crazy.
That would be
I was
crazy.
in 2 Alpha 111.
I was
OMG!
I was in 2 Charlie.
2 Charlie. Well,
Yeah,
it's
2
on
Charlie.
the 2 side.
So we were
Same
both
side.
right. It was.
That's funny. Super close.
Super close.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's where we know each other from.
Everything's
Yes?
That's
small
right.
world.
So,
Yeah,
can I ask you some questions? If you don't
Of
want to answer,
course.
we'll just cut it out.
No, it's
Right.
fine. Ask me anything.
Okay. So, being in prison as a girl, especially when you have kids, so somebody else is watching River, or is
Yes.
this not the time for me to even say it?
No.
So then, and I'm not saying because I don't know your scenario there.
Yeah.
But a lot of times you're thinking, man, am I going to get to see my kids again? Do my kids still love me? You know, there's a lot of that. So kind of give us a rundown of how it's been out, because obviously River's here and,
Yeah.
you know.
So I was very blessed that their dad took them and did an amazing job. And,
the baby daddy did an amazing job.
He did we were married for a really long time, and he was a great dad. And so he took all 3 of them, and also he blessed me in ways he didn't have to with video visits. We had consistent video visits every month.
Through COVID?
Oh, yeah, through all of it.
Yeah.
And then on the phone every day. I talked to my kids every single day.
Really?
He sent me pictures. I sent them
That's
cards.
a good man.
You know all the good prison cards that people make?
Yeah.
I just bought them up, and consistently sent cards, just always letting them know.
I could have made some money off her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But he did a really, really good job, and I'm so thankful because we were in constant communication. Now, it was 1,514 days total I was gone, which is 4 years and 2 months and some change. So
4 years is a long time.
It was a long time, especially at their ages.
Yeah.
River
Yeah.
was 4.
Yeah.
Now he's 9.
Yeah.
You know, my kids, my older 2, they were hitting like puberty, going into high school, middle school. My son, my oldest, just graduated, and now my middle is driving a car, just got her license. But yeah, so I'm really very thankful for that. And then I've just spent the last 8 months rebuilding with them. And
So you've only been out 8 months?
8 months.
Wow.
And with the older 2, it's been a little bit more difficult because they were older.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some, hurt feelings still, but we're working through that. What it's about is consistency, showing up, and what I have seen so many times, especially in incarceration, is you run into people who don't change their mindset and they don't change what they're doing, right? Our actions have consequences. Sometimes we can make a decision in a moment, and then here it is 5 years later, and we're still paying for that consequence, right? So that would be me. But the difference is that you don't go back to what you were doing.
That's right.
And I've seen that so many times. Some of the girls, that I became really good friends with and loved, back and back and back. And that's the thing. So I want to mention, that's the most important thing, is that you just show them that you're not going back no matter what. You're going to make different choices and decisions, and then you do. Yeah. And then you just stay consistent, and you pray and let God take care of the rest.
So true.
It's
right?
so true. I kind of have to. My daughter was 2 when I went in and started my whole incarceration journey, and she's 17 now. So
you were gone for how long?
12 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
But
I mean, that makes mine sound like nothing.
Oh, time is time. Is the way
Right. Still.
She's an amazing human being. Her grandparents have done just an amazing job with her, raised her in church, and she's super smart, and I couldn't have asked for a better situation. I mean, I guess ideally a better situation would be like getting to be more involved. But I just have to put her on that altar every day.
That's right.
And just, let God do his work.
That's
and
right.
There are moments when I can definitely see glimpses of it. And there are moments, where I, in my humanness, just wish like the process would be faster. But,
yep. I
I keep reaching
understand.
out. And that's all I can do. So, like, you're right. It takes consistency. Even if you're not seeing the progress, it's there.
Even when they don't, the older ones don't call me back or answer my text, doesn't mean I'm your mom. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm the only mom that you're ever going to have. So I'm going to keep blowing you up.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep calling. I'm going to keep reminding you. I'm going to keep just saying, hey, I love you. I'm thinking about you. And, and
Are they teenagers?
They are.
Yeah, they're teenagers.
That's
There's
why,
nothing you
too,
can do
yeah.
with teenagers.
18 and
telling you.
16.
18 and 16.
Hard
Oh, yeah.
ages.
No.
They're hard ages.
Yeah. You know what? When they're little kids, yeah, teenagers, there's nothing you can do about it. Wait until they're 25. They come around again. It's going to
Right.
be okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm telling you, they
that's
will.
what I'm holding out hope for
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
But you
that's
know
all we
what?
can do, you
Yeah.
know?
Even when you call, even when you hassle, even when, not really hassle, but when you text
Yeah.
and they still know.
They still know.
Right. And then if they want to hold a little grudge for a little while, that's
Yeah.
their thing, and God can work through that.
Yes. And, I think, too, as you said, the age, they haven't lived enough life to have enough to compare it to, right?
Yes.
So if they were to see, like, my life or
That's why we need the happy dance, just to throwing that out at you.
Yeah.
We'll be back in a minute.
And we're back.
And we're back. Yes, here we are. Yes. Well, that is happy, right?
It is happy.
It is happy.
That's victory.
All
That
right,
is,
so
that's
I got,
right.
I got a couple questions. So,
Uh-oh.
well, it's okay. Yes.
Okay.
Because you said that sometimes, sometimes kids, right? They don't understand until, they don't understand until they get into relationships, and then they're like, "Oh, Mom, I didn't know," or "Hey, Dad, I didn't realize it was going to be that hard to pay the bills," or "Oh,
Right.
Dad, what do you do here? I'm overwhelmed, Dad." Like, yeah, welcome to my world.
Right.
Yes, but when you went to prison, right? You don't have to tell us what you went for, but was that one of those? Was that? And I have said this so many times in classes, and to many inmates about. Yeah, you don't want to go to prison. There's no doubt about it. But was there a time in your life where you actually called out to God for help? Was that in your scenario, or was that maybe? And what I get is this, and like I said, I don't know your the background, but and this may not have anything to do with you, but I've had people like they're so tired of the drama of, and I don't know if it's drugs or people are tired of the drugs. They're tired of the paranoia. And then you get so sick of it that you ask God for help. And you're like, God, you don't even know who God is, right? You just know that you need some help. And you cry out, God, I need some help. And then next thing you know, the sheriff knocks your door down. Like I've had it where people said like within hours or the next day, the sheriff will knock your door down. Then you're all mad because now God hasn't come to your rescue, which God did come to your rescue.
Just not the way you
Yeah.
wanted.
Not the
or
way you wanted
imagined.
to.
That's how.
That's
it
right.
And this may not have anything to do with you girls, but somebody it has something to do with. So I'm just saying it
for
right now.
sure. For
So,
sure.
but the thing about it is then you got to spend some time in county, and then of course county's like everybody's innocent, so I get that, right? Like, oh, no, I hadn't done anything yet. But when you get to prison, everybody realizes, okay, I did do it.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
no,
it
no,
is,
they
you
don't.
know,
Not everybody.
Not everybody, but most people.
Yeah.
So, but then when you get to prison, you don't realize it. And then sometimes you think you're a loser. Sometimes you think you're a failure. Sometimes you think all these horrible things. Where I have said, how many times have I said,
Yeah.
no, God's rescued you. You are incredible.
Yes.
You're worth something. Otherwise, he would not have rescued you. And he doesn't rescue everybody.
That's
but a lot of
right.
times he rescues you, gets you into prison for whatever time it needs to be to set you down to regroup.
That's
and like you
right.
said, some people never regroup.
Never.
And you've seen people come back. I hate it when I see somebody.
I know.
I'm like, man, you look so familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in your class in 2016.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you've been in prison this long? And they say, no, I came back. And I just, and my first response is, oh.
Yeah.
And then I think, don't say, oh, but it's so discouraging.
It is.
It's so discouraging because you have the opportunity to make it.
Yeah.
And then I can't imagine go back to court knowing you had to go back to,
Yeah.
a corn dog with no stick. Or
Or worse.
or worse, right? Or the
soy
hamburger.
patty.
Oh,
Yeah, the soy patty. Be careful what we say.
awful.
Yeah, but whatever. You know what? So what Audra said is, you know what? Take advantage of the classes. Yeah, some of the stuff is going to be boring. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Class with me, yeah, Mr. Amazing, it's boring.
Definitely
But,
not boring.
I'm
take advantage of these. Take advantage of the classes. Take advantage of the opportunities you
That's
have.
right.
Because if you don't change your thinking,
right.
you're going to keep doing the same thing. And let me tell you what, Satan knows exactly what's going on. He's going to keep getting the thing that affects you, and it's going to look a little bit different every time, but the result is still the same. So why not just change? Why not to know who you are? How to know that you're incredible, that you're worth it, that you're valuable, and then learn who God says that you are. And you know what? If you could get that, if you just apply that, your brain transforms into, then you think that I've been in prison, not because I'm horrible, it's because that I am well loved by the Creator that set me down to give me a do-over. And then when you get that, it's amazing. And then when you get out, man, life is different. Because now, I mean, I've said this a million times. It's like you get out and now you know your worth, so your decision making's different.
So different.
It's so different because when you think you're valuable, your decision making's going to be way better. When you think that you're a loser, never going to work out, I'm always a failure, yeah, you make stupid choices because why not?
Right.
I mean, you got no hope. But when I got hope now, I mean, I got Jesus. Even when I'm stupid, like my old lady said today, which I know you're going to watch this, Debbie. So she said to me today, why do you got to look so, what did she say? She said, why do you got to look so goofy, right? So she don't like my hair like this. I don't know. What do you think?
Debbie, do you think he looks like a banty rooster?
I actually like it. I kind of like it.
Yeah.
I think it should stay.
It's not going to stay, but
Very
it's
punk rock,
it's
man.
punk rock,
That's right.
You
Deborah.
know, that's my thing.
Yes.
Punk rock.
So whatever that's worth, right? Take advantage of it. Yes?
Yes,
Yes.
I agree.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you some more questions.
Sure.
You okay with that?
Of course.
Which I know that we can't really cut down the Texas Department of Criminal Justice because that wouldn't be right if we're trying to get in there.
Yeah.
And then, you know what? Sometimes I'm just like, people are like, well, we don't have this and we don't have that. I know, but you're in prison. So guess what? They make it to where it's not like a hotel so you don't come back.
Right,
I mean, that's the point.
Yes.
Like if the food was 5-star,
Right.
then why would you like, hey, man, I think I'd be better off in prison because I just got, this gourmet meal. No. And then they're feeding lots of people, especially in Lockhart. I mean, you're feeding 1,000 people 3 times a day. You just can't make individual meals, right? And then even at San Salvador, some of the other places, it's
and
hard.
those are small compared to the main unit, like Lane Murray.
Oh, man.
I mean,
On
that's
other
like
units, they're-
Thousands of
Thousands.
people, right?
Yeah.
So we're fortunate to have some food, and God's still blessing us with that. But tell us when you first went to prison. I mean, what's it like to hop on the bus? Right. And you know what, Kim, you could probably add some of this too, because I think people want to hear some of this.
Yeah.
Like, what's it like to hop on the bus? And you've seen it.
man.
You've seen the bus going down the road. It's all white with the
Yep.
bars on it
It's
where
like a-
you can't see
Yeah.
through it.
We
which-
call it the Bluebird.
the Bluebird, except it's white. Every time I see one, I'm like,
Let me tell you, it is terrible. So I learned to be a minimalist while I was
a
incarcerated.
minimalist.
Yes,
Yep.
because whenever it's time to, and you could pack up at any time. Like TDCJ, it does not matter. Just because you get somewhere doesn't mean that you're comfortable. Right? Don't ever get comfortable.
Yeah.
Because you can pack up at any second.
That's
and
right.
if you got bags and bags of commissary and bags of books and bags of this and bags of that, if you cannot fit in that one shame bag and put it on your back and carry it, then you're going to have to pack it up in another bag and leave it behind. And who knows when you're going to get that.
Yes.
You might not ever
Your
get it.
property follows you. You don't get to take it with you.
Yeah. So
You're talking about transferring from unit to unit to unit,
Yes.
and that could happen at any time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And but whenever that you want to know about that first one, like it's like after you get sentenced and you're sitting in county and you're waiting because anything is better than county, right? So you're waiting and waiting, and then whenever you get that call to pack up, you're pulling chain. Most times all you get is like your little shower shoes that you have on your feet
Your Bible.
and your Bible. And so you're carrying in that, the handcuffs get too tight.
Yeah.
You're crubbed in there like this.
You're
and
cuffed to somebody.
yes, or to somebody. And it's uncomfortable, right? And it's usually, my experience, it's always been super cold on the way there. So you're like trying to stay warm in the back of the vehicle. And if you're like a smoker, sometimes I had an officer who smoked cigarettes that was transporting me, so I just smelled cigarettes. So I'm just fiending for a cigarette. Like you're still coming off of everything you've had in your
Right.
system for the years and years you've been running around doing the most. And so it's a horrible feeling whenever you walk in there. Like it is the most degrading experience because you got to strip down. You get completely.
I'll never
humbled.
forget the first time that I had to strip or stand in the cage outside in the rain.
Yes,
I
and
mean,
the
it was-
squat and
Yes,
cough and
yep.
the clicking for a female. I don't know if they do for male, but they're going to shine a flashlight
Yes, they are.
whenever you're
Where the sun doesn't shine?
Yes,
where
they
the sun
do.
doesn't shine.
Yes.
It gets real. And whenever you
Yep.
hear that, and if you're getting there with a lot of other women, so you're all lined up like
Yep.
that. And so the only thing I knew to do, like as for like, you know, that whole fight or flight thing, I just zoned out, right? And I started counting cracks in the wall, or I started, you know, just so you can just move through the motion.
Yeah.
And I mean,
You do eventually. You just put one foot in front of the other. You just tell yourself. I can remember talking myself through that so many times, being in the worst situations, worst surroundings,
Yeah.
and you feel the worst and you're scared and you don't know what to expect, especially in the beginning, and you just tell yourself, put one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of that, and you just do it. You go through the motions and you pray.
yeah.
And then eventually, it's the craziest thing. You adjust and you adapt and you get on with it and you start to smile and laugh again. I remember in the beginning, excuse me, where I would see these girls running around smiling, laughing, and I'm going, what is going on? I don't understand. We're literally in prison at the worst time of our lives, and they're running around like they're on vacation. I could not understand it. I couldn't understand it because my mind was always working, and I was always thinking and trying to process and the emotions that come along with it, and being away from your kids, and, you know, and then eventually you just learn to adapt. You get yourself involved in programs, classes, things that are going to help your future and help your mind and help your heart and your spirit. And eventually it gets a little bit easier. It got a little bit easier the longer that I did. And, you know, it was such a hard experience. And it felt like it was never going to end at times. But then one day you wake up and it's done. It's done just that quick. It's like, it's the most surreal thing.
Well, Kim, for 12 years. I mean, that is
That is
I'm
a
not
long
saying
time.
that 4 years isn't a long
No,
time.
but 12 is.
12 years is a
Honestly,
long
yeah,
time.
I don't know how I would have been. I always tell people, like, if I would have only got 2 to 5 years, maybe I wouldn't be where I'm at today. But I went in knowing. So the way mine was set up is I had a 15 stacked on a 10, so that was 25 years. But it didn't matter if I made parole. I was gonna have to turn around, start a completely different sentence, and that's what I did. Right, I ended up making parole, but I didn't leave. I just maxed out my charge and then started parole on another one.
So you maxed out the 10 and then went to the 15, and then how
started
long?
over.
And you did
2-3 years.
2 or 3 on the 15. Okay.
Yeah, because I had already served some time on the 10.
Yeah, of course.
So it was. I went in there with the mindset like, this is gonna be where I'm gonna stay. This is gonna be my home.
Right.
And it was a very hard pill to swallow at first, because you don't want to accept it, because I was also dealing with the fact that I was going in there alone, and I was like begging my mom to write me.
Yes.
And then it got to the point where like all my letters that I sent to her were getting like returned to sender, and then every now and then she would send a letter and it would be like crazy, and then I wouldn't hear from her for a couple more years, and it was just on. And so it's like I went in there with no support, no family, no anything, and that was what really tore me up, is that like my life was just in shambles, that I had nothing. And I ended up getting a job at industry and at Henderson, and that's when things started changing for me, and I was like, well, I don't need.
Yeah, because then you've got money on your books. You can go to commissary and get what you need.
You know, it's hard if you don't have anything in there. You don't have hygiene.
Oh, it's hard.
Simple necessities like toothpaste.
Yep.
So I was like, my first 5 years, I was slinging cards and artwork just so I can have deodorant.
Slinging cards.
Yeah. Like I would draw. I don't know if you knew this, but I'm actually a really
Oh, really?
good artiste.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I would make these really, and I did like the really cool pop out advanced
Yep.
ones. They'd be like this big,
Yep.
and I would do portraits, and sometimes I would wash people's clothes just for some toothpaste or whatever. It was just a hard.
But if
Yeah.
you sold the cards there for soups and stuff, isn't that against the rules?
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
So we didn't really technically do that.
No, I'm just saying that's what you could do.
I had a friend who did that.
Yeah, I had a friend, but no, but so change the subject. Just being in there, it was just a really hard. But I have like a different outlook than she did because she knew, eventually she was going to make parole on that. I don't know how long your sentence was.
10.
Yeah. So but going in with like 2 stacked sentences.
Oh, yeah.
And hardly anybody ever has that. So going
Yep,
in with
that's true.
that, I just knew that you're going to do 25. I just knew it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just knew.
You're
So
in it for the long haul. You just have to set your mind
So-
to it.
I mean, but then,
Yeah.
you're thinking you're going and you have no idea where you're going after county.
Right.
I mean, you're in a van or you're in a bus
Yeah.
and
And
you are going.
Everyone thinks, oh, God, I'm going to hobby.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh, that's
man.
the worst. Oh.
I'm the only one that wants to go to hobby. I love that place.
I'm so thankful that I didn't have to do time at hobby. I
Really?
would not have made it. I would not. It's no.
That's too bad because I love hobby.
That's one of the rough ones.
It is.
they
It's
Oh,
say.
I
rough.
know.
It's
I've been there
rough.
twice preaching. And when one day, which George is going to get a kick out of this, and we're going to get back to your story. I just want to talk a little bit.
Talk.
So we're at the hobby unit, and it's like legit.
Yeah,
I mean, it's legit. So they
It's
have
rough.
like when you're walking out there on the field, it looks just like it's legit. So anyway, so the guards walking George and I to the gym for a church service, and somebody screams out my name from one of those little windows. They're like, "Hey, Tom, it's me, L.A." Anyway, I felt like a rock star. I did. The guard's looking at me, and George is like, "What's going on?" I said, "Oh, I know her." Right, but I did. I felt like a rock star. I'm like, "That's me, man." Anyway, so I love that place. But I got to preach there twice, and the chaplain poked me in the chest and said, "You need to speak more from here." Never got invited back,
Oh, man.
which was okay because I needed to hear that. Anyway, back to you guys.
Anyways. Yeah, so,
So you're leaving the county. You're going. You have no idea where you're going.
No idea.
Probably the thoughts of all the crazy stuff going on in your
Yes.
head, and then you pull into someplace, and then you're thinking, "Man, I got 25 years."
yeah.
I mean, how do you even have hope through that?
I didn't at
I mean,
first.
what you didn't at first? I mean, do
No.
you rebel or what
I did.
happens at first?
I did. I was very confrontational. Just to be completely honest, I was in my early 20s. So I was extremely confrontational, and I had like a chip on my shoulder.
This is your shoulder over here.
Yeah, I had a chip on it.
Okay.
I'm doing my fidgety thing, right?
Yeah,
Fidget.
okay.
Yeah. So, no, I had a chip on my shoulder, It's so like I took offense to anything people said, and like I couldn't hang out with like groups of people. You know how it is in there. Everybody
yeah.
wants- I was just going through so much, and I was just beating myself up. That, and honestly, I'm pretty sure I was probably still like withdrawing from
Yeah.
that whole lifestyle.
How long were you in county?
I was in county for about 6 months, I think.
Yeah.
And
when
I
you-
did SEG time. I
Yeah.
was in SEG when I left county. It was just a bad situation.
So what
Yeah.
you're saying about, you're not talking about just getting off of drugs. You're just talking about like getting off of the lifestyle.
the lifestyle.
The
yeah.
lifestyle, because you know what, you get caught in that lifestyle, you have no idea that there's another lifestyle out there for you.
Right.
And so you're like detoxing in the lifestyle
Yeah.
of the drugs, of
The chaos.
the
Like
chaos.
I attracted chaos because I was so used to the chaos outside of incarceration, right? That was the lifestyle. And like I was trying to find a way to like stick to myself, but I just gravitated towards the negative. If it was like gossiping, if it was just like, just not very good, behavior and just things like that. Like, so it was just like, I was going through a warfare I did not know I was going through. You know what I mean? Like there was a spiritual warfare going on because in the very, very back of my mind, there was a part of me that was like always telling me like, go to church, you know, or because they called church and I was like, no. Or, you know, I'd have a Bible at the end of my bed. I never picked it up, you know, but I always thought about it. I just had this war inside of me. It was just the craziest experience in my life.
So what is that when you're having not rehab, but when you're coming down from like drugs, withdrawal, right? So you're having a withdrawal, but not from drugs. You're having a withdrawal from your lifestyle.
Yeah,
Right.
Never thought about that before. Bam! I'm telling you, man, we're learning stuff on this podcast.
That's right.
I am going to use that. I am going to use that from here on in, because a lot of times you don't realize that you need a withdrawal from your lifestyle. You know, I need a withdrawal from my drugs. I need to withdraw from, you know, from alcohol. I need to withdraw from, you know, whatever it is, stealing, boasting, or boosting, or whatever. People. Yeah, you need it, but you don't, sometimes you don't realize that you need to withdraw from your lifestyle.
Yeah.
The people you're hanging out with, you need to withdraw from that.
Yeah.
And
it
never
affects
go
the
back
people.
to that.
That's
Because
right.
it was like, even if I like decided I was going to, I'm going to stop hanging around with her because she's not really doing anything good for me, I would still hang out with the same kind of person.
Yeah.
It was that I had to get alone. I had to get alone with God. And I've shared it. It was like after my mom died. Whenever I lost my mom, even that, it was like I lost everything.
How many years were you in when she passed?
So 2011. Maybe 5, 6 years. I'm going to say 5.5.
That would be hard. I'm sorry that you had to go through that.
It was crazy, though, the way it all happened, because I had just started out. Something had, like, I started getting a desire to do some other, so I was like, okay, I'm going to start doing school. So I got myself into school and did the testing and stuff. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to start going to some classes. So I started Truth Be Told. And then,
Done that.
Yeah. And so then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to apply for this job, whatever. And then I got the job. And so I started going to this job. Not even 2 weeks into that job, that's when my mom died. Hadn't talked to her in years. And then I got the phone call that she died or whatever.
And she had your daughter at this time?
No.
Oh,
My
okay.
daughter has never been with my mother. My daughter has
okay.
always been with her grandparents, which
Okay.
that is where she needs to be.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they're very good Christian loving people. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they're good to her. But no. I mean, I can even count on the times on my hands that my mom actually saw my kid, like, while I was out there.
Yeah.
You know, we lived right down the road from each other.
Right.
Like, maybe, you know?
Yeah.
And she just wasn't a good person to be around.
Yeah.
So it was just one of those things. But after that, everything changed. It was like it clicked. And I know I've shared that before. Just whenever you really desire something in your heart, even if you don't know how to get there, even if you don't know how to reach it, even if you don't even see the way, if you really desire it, because there were nights that I would lay on my slab and I would just be like, oh, God, I don't even know if you're real. I don't even know if I believe in you. I don't even know, but I know there's supposed to be a God. Like, if you can do something different for me, then I want to do it.
And he's like, what?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times I sat there and prayed, if this is it, then just let me die.
You sound like Jonah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you know what's so beautiful, though? I just always like to focus on, like, the beautiful part. Like, that prayer transpired into, God, if I'm going to be one of those people that are just in and out, just leave me here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Not because I just wanted to be in prison, but because I didn't want to be a statistic.
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't want to get out and dishonor his name.
I am using that, and I have used that. I didn't steal it from you because you put it out there. So I have told people that I know somebody, a friend of mine, who said, I'd rather spend 2 more years here and get it right than go home too early and come back.
Yeah.
Yes. So thanks for that.
Yeah, I started praying. Let me tell you, I started praying that, and the more I prayed it, the more I caught on fire for God. The more
Was there a fire hose?
Well, there's a fire of the Holy Spirit.
Oh.
That was good.
Audra, so, and I don't know if you want to, you know.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we know what Kimmy's deal is,
Yeah.
right? So for you, I mean, I guess you don't have to share it. I'd like to say you share it, but like
I'm pretty open.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what caused you to go? Was it drugs?
Yes. So.
So if it was drugs, then what caused? What do you think caused going to do drugs in the first place?
Okay, so I'll make it kind of a long story short. So I was on opiates from a doctor for my back for years, and some traumatic things happened in 2017 in my marriage. It was a decade. It was right before my 10-year wedding anniversary, and so when that trauma happened, I did not handle it well at all. I did not handle it well. And I lost my prescription to opiates that I had been on for years from my doctor. So we moved. Somebody introduced me to heroin. And I was like, I'm never going to use a needle, which I still have never done because I didn't want to overdose. It's opiate. It's the same. It's an opiate. Heroin is a street opiate, right? So I just knew I had to not withdraw because I had to function. But even then, when I was taking that, and it was a short time. It was about a year, maybe less, that I was taking it. And I still, it made me very sick. I still did not function, and put me in the hospital a few times just from being sick, making my body sick. I just was going down and down and down and down. And then I overdosed on accident. He saved my life. My 4-year-old son, who was nonverbal at the time because he was born with childhood speech apraxia. So he's been in speech therapy for years. But at the time, it was just him and I in the room. There's no reason that he should have known. I mean, he could have just thought, oh, mom fell asleep. That's not what happened. Somehow, he went and got the attention of his older siblings. They called 911. They came in, Narcaned me, took 3 times. Didn't even save my life until I was out in the ambulance. I mean, God is so good the way that he works, because not only did he use this child who was 4 at the time, nonverbal, to get the attention for them to get help for me, but also the pit I was in at that moment, at that time during my life, I could not get out to save my own life. I was so sick. Mentally, physically, I was so sick. I was so depressed. I was so addicted. I was so sad. I was alone. I was alone. My husband and I had separated by that time. There was a lot of things that I wasn't expecting that I learned, and then I didn't handle them well. And the choice though to do drugs was all mine. And I take full responsibility for that. I should have never done that. But I'm so thankful too, because I'd been addicted to opiates for years. And so I went on to the heroin for that little while, and it saved me from all of that. It literally took an act of God to just like pluck me out of something I could not get out of on my own. And so I went to the hospital, and then I went immediately to rehab. I did 105 days in rehab. It was a blessing. My husband, ex-husband now, put me through rehab, completed it, 105 days, graduated, and they waited to indict me, which I knew they were going to. They told me, after you leave rehab, we're going to indict you. They did. They came, arrested me. First time I ever had cuffs on. I was like shocked, and then went to county and did 8 months in county, and then did the rest of my time in prison. So it was just, I was a stay-at-home mom for years. I didn't hang out with drug users, didn't know drug users, didn't party. I did the drugs. Excuse me. I did the drugs that I did by myself. I wasn't out there like that. So I can't relate to, because I hear that a lot. Are you going to go back to the same people, places, and things? Well, that's never been. I was literally only using so that I would not go into withdrawal, right? And so I would go to this guy that was selling it, and I would buy in big quantities so I didn't have to go very often. But that is actually what ended up being, came back to bite me, because I had all of that in a safe together, and that's why I had the amounts that I had. So they thought I was selling. So they got me for selling drugs, which I've never sold a drug a day in my life. Doesn't matter. I had it. I was responsible.
It's true.
And it was my fault.
Yeah.
And so, I just learned the hard way. But I've done that, I feel like, my whole life. I've learned things the hard way my whole life. But you know what? It only takes once. It may be hard, but I promise you, it will never happen again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know.
No.
Yeah.
I know. It's just crazy, right? Here, let me introduce you to heroin. He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
I know.
Here, let me introduce you
know
to something that ruined your whole life.
Never did I ever think. I was 35 years old before I ever used heroin. I was 35 years old the first time I had handcuffs on me. It was not something you expect.
Those pain pills and stuff.
Oh, man.
Like nowadays, I am like against medication.
Yes.
Like whenever I had that big dental surgery, I did it with Tylenol.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Regular Tylenol.
Yeah.
The only thing I will take is like antibiotics, because
of course.
But
That's
I am
different,
completely against pain medicines, and that's
yeah.
why.
That's why.
Because
it's very easy to
I
get
had
hooked.
a really bad car accident experience. I was ran over when I was like 13, and it shattered my leg and my foot and my ankle completely. I went through so many different surgeries. I have a bunch of metal, but they pumped me full of Demerol and morphine and bottles of Somas and Vicodins and Narcos, and I never got over that. And like ever in my life.
I want to tell you guys something funny real quick. So, well, it's not funny, but so the doctor, this same doctor that was prescribing me opiates for that decade, right? When I was in prison, I went to medical, and they were trying to get my medical records for something. And I came back in, and the doctor hands me a piece of paper and said, "Is this your doctor?" And I looked at the paper, and now he's doing federal time because he, he was doing fake procedures on us, like shots or whatever, just so he could bill the insurance company so that he could prescribe the opiates to us, get everyone addicted, and he defrauded them for like $40 million.
Oh my God.
So now he's actually in prison, federal prison.
But God can still come to his rescue.
Oh,
God
yeah.
can. Yes,
He can.
yes, God can.
Absolutely.
All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to call a timeout.
All right.
We are. And then we're going to start
The part 2?
part 2.
Visitor part 2?
Visitor part 2. But just
Okay.
hang on a second.
All right.
So before we go, I just want to, hopefully you're encouraged that no matter where you're at right now, it can change.
Yeah.
The thing about it is like what Kim was saying, you think that, you get stuck in a mindset that you don't think can change, but it can change because, and then the Holy Spirit, right? You think, well, God never speaks to me. God never speaks to me. Yes, he does, because everybody's had the Holy Spirit tell them before, don't do that, or don't go there, or don't just say no, and you do it anyway. And the next day you're thinking, I should have listened to that. And that's God. So no matter what your situation is, you need to start looking, not you need to, but you should start looking at it positive, because you don't want to sit in prison. You don't want to sit in county. You don't want to be this and that. But if God's rescued you, you got to seek him with everything you have. And I guarantee you, he will show up to your rescue.
That's right.
Right?
Amen.
These girls right here are living proof of it. There was a time where there was this toughest time of their life. And then now God's rescued it from them, and now they're not afraid to share. Now they're not afraid to say, yeah, God took me from the most horrible things that I have done on my own. Not that anybody's done it to me, but I'm the one who made the decisions. And then now God's rescued me. And now life is changing for them. They're here to encourage you, right? So hopefully you've been encouraged. So until we see you again
On part 2.
on part 2, whenever that is, see ya.
Later.